Hi everyone, this is Ben Songrath with the Learning Technology Center of Illinois, and today we are going to look at Book Creator in this video as a part of our Creativity video series. Book Creator is an amazing tool that allows teachers and students to make books using their Chromebooks, MacBooks, laptops, or iPads even. But it's so much more than making books. I think you're going to see in this tutorial that there's a lot of different ways that you can maximize Book Creator in your classroom with your students. So without further ado, let's jump right into how to use Book Creator.
All right, so here we are in Book Creator, and you can see I'm in my libraries area. That's noted up here on the top left-hand side. So in your libraries area, what you're going to see are all of your libraries, and then the ones that you have created as a teacher, and then those that have been shared with you down here. I currently have one of their paid plans. If you are using this in the free version, you're going to get one My Books library and then one student library here as well. If you want any more than that, you would have to upgrade to one of their premium plans. But most teachers do find, a way to use the free version in their classrooms. What I want to do is just show you really quickly some things about how you can use this, and then a couple of examples of what it looks like when it's been created. So if I jump into my Books library, you can see that I've got several books in here that I have made and that I have shared with teachers in my workshops. But really what I want to jump into is when I create a new book, which is up in the top left-hand corner of the screen here, I have a couple of different options that I think are really cool. One, you can create just a plain version of a book up here on the top. But then down here you have the option to create a comic book. And these are really cool. I kind of encourage teachers to go with the comic book because you get some more fancy features, some more engaging features that your kids can use. And they don't have to have comic book panels if they don't want them. So I'm going to go ahead and click Square Comic. And then I jump into my book. So here's the cover of my book that I'm going to design, and then as I'm building this book out, I'm going to use the arrow on the right hand side of the screen to kind of keep clicking through, and you can see now I'm on page 2, and if I go to page 3, I'm here, and now I'm on 3 of 3, but I can hit the plus sign over here and add a 4th page if I want to. Don't worry about running out of pages. There is no end in the page amount that you can get to, so if you think that you're at 3 and you're done, that's not the case. So I'm going to go ahead and now jump back to page 1, or my cover page. To do that, I can go up here to my Pages section. It gives me the outline of all the pages that I have, and if I click on Cover, it's going to jump me back to the cover area here. So now let's look at why Book Creator is special and what it means to be creative with Book Creator. And I think that all revolves around the plus sign in the top right-hand corner of your screen. When you click on that, you're going to see you have some options to add things to your page. So this is one of the things that I like about Book Creator is it's very icon heavy and icon driven. So it's easy to use with students of all levels of learning. I've used this with kindergartners all the way up through high school kids. So it's really kind of spans the whole K-12 environment. The first option that comes up is comics. So this is why, because we selected comic books. So I get to put comic book panels in, speech bubbles, thought bubbles, comic book style text, and then comic book style stickers. So this is kind of the extra things that you get when you choose a comic book. But we're going to focus more on the media area here because this is where I think Book Creator really stands out above other things. And that's because of all the things you can enter into the book. So if I look here, I have import, camera, pen, text, and record. So each one of these things allows me to add different elements to my book. If I choose import, I'm going to be able to bring in a Google image search here, embed a Google map, bring in files from my computer, bring in files from my Google Drive, or embed something with an iframe code. So a lot of really fun options here with the import option. If I go to the plus sign again and go back to media, now I get to the really kind of creative elements of this, including the camera. I really like the camera feature here because when I select camera, it's going to turn my camera on, and it shows the camera down on my computer down here. Hi. And what it'll do is allow me to take a picture and drop it in, or I can record video, which is up here. If I click record video, now it's going to count me down, and when it starts to record, as it's doing right now, I can now express whatever thoughts I have on the topic in this recording and then hit stop. Use this video, and it just takes a couple of seconds, I didn't speed that up at all, to drop in. So your students can actually record themselves talking about a topic and put their video inside of their book, which I think is amazing. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. the other thing on the plus sign up here is the pen tool. So if you have touchscreen devices, or even if you don't have touchscreen devices, the pen tool is amazing. It's really great for touchscreens because you can have kids draw on the screen if you so choose. But you also have a couple of really fun options here too, including their new feature called Auto Draw. So their Auto Draw is pretty great because it can allow you to use your mouse, and say I'm going to use my mouse here to draw a rabbit. And as I kind of draw this, you can see it's guessing up here what I'm drawing, including apparently a toe or a foot, but hey, there's a rabbit right there. So if I click on the rabbit, it auto snaps it into a rabbit, and so now I have a really well drawn out rabbit on my page instead of just a really poorly drawn rabbit on my page. If I want to change its color, I can click on the colors up here, and then this is another fun feature that teachers really like, kids really like, is the magic ink. So I can change my rabbit to a magic ink color, and you can see how it's become now that different kind of rainbowy color there. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out, and now I have my magic ink, a rabbit right there. And if I want to draw with that, I can click on the tools, find my pen tool, click on that. You can see my color is still the magic ink, and I could draw on my page with the magic ink, hit done, and then my image drops in to my canvas and I can resize it as needed. So I really like that feature a lot as well. Next up on the media area here is the text. So text is great because it's Book Creator. So you're thinking you're probably going to want to have your students create books with this, and books have writing on them. So you want to figure out how to add text. Well, text is awesome because when you add text, it opens up this text box here. And one of the things that I like to point out to teachers is that this text box is where I type in my text. And when I do that, it only allows me to format it with bold, italic, or underline at this stage. Now, the thing about this that I like is that when I have students, they like to, if it's in a Google slideshow, say, they'll type in their text, but then they immediately want to format it. In this case, it isolates your text into this pop-up text box here. And it doesn't let them format it until after they hit the done button and go back and enter their text in. The other thing is that if you have littles, or you have students that struggle to type, there is speech to text. So there is speech to text inside of Book Creator. Well, it said Book Reader instead of Creator, but close enough. And it's pretty good. So if I hit done on this, now my text is on my page. If I want to now change that text, I use the eye or the inspector tool up here, click on it, and now you can see I can change my size of my font, the font style, the color of the font, and all sorts of other options in here as well. So that's really great about text. And then the last thing here that I really think is amazing is the plus sign media and down to record. So when you go to record something, you can actually have your students record their voice inside of their book. So I had a teacher actually do a book of poetry. So her students did like their own poems. And what she did is they were littles, so they were in 2nd or 3rd grade, and they had to do their poems. And then she had them all come up, she took a picture of them, and then she recorded their voice of them reading their poem inside of the book. And so they had this collective book of poems that the kids wrote, and they could then send that out to mom and dads at home. So it was really neat. All right, so that's the record option. And then when it's all said and done, you wonder what it kind of looks like. So this is a book here that I've written on Google Classroom inside of Book Creator. And if I want to see what this looks like, I can publish it to the web. So to do that, I click on the little share icon in the middle. Once I'm at my library here, you can see it says publish it online. You also have the ability to download it as an ebook or print it out if you would choose to do that. So what's it look like when it publishes online? Well, it comes up as a URL that you can share out to anybody. And when it comes up, it's really interactive because the pages turn. You can have hyperlinks. So this is actually a table of contents to different areas inside of the book. The pages flip. You can see it goes right to that page. I have images in here, but I've also added videos. So these are videos that I've dropped in to support the learning inside of this book. I filmed these using another tool and then download the video as an MP4 and uploaded it into the book. So that was a really great way for me to get the screencasts into the particular spots of the book that I needed it to go. So you can see there's another one there. So the published version I think is really awesome. And then you also have the ability to read to me.
Video tutorial, adding question.
So if your students do need it read to them, it'll do that and it highlights the words as it goes, which I think is really cool. So that's what the published versions look like. So before we get any further, I want to show you a couple of student examples. So I'm going to go back to my libraries here. I have a couple of friends have shared with me that they've done. Here's a really good one on medieval history of Japan. So this was a student version that this student did, and you can see they did a really good job. They put in audio, and then the pages turn, and they were studying the medieval history of Japan. So they've got all the religions, the samurai. You can see they added in the images. And they've achieved all the elements that the teacher wanted out of this book or out of this project, including the sources at the end. And then we're able to share this out in a published version. So it was really cool to see this come to life.
So that's how you use Book Creator and how you can get your students involved with the tool. And I think you can see why it's one of my favorite tools to use in the classroom. I think the potential there to do so many different things with your students is really incredible. So anything from using it with kindergartners to do all about me or all about weather books. We did all about me books with third graders. We had high school students writing autobiographies as if they were a famous person from history. You know, there are just so many ways that I think you can use Book Creator in the classroom with your students. So I hope you enjoyed this video. We have several others in the creative video series that the LTC is producing, so make sure you look out for those. And as always, thanks for watching.